It is February 14th, 2023. We are back, the new American Realist show with co-host, just recently retired First Sergeant in the Army, Bryan, is here with us again today. We're going to go over what's been going on and WTF. What's going on, man? We had trains being derailed, people being shot, some politicians. You heard about that in New Jersey, 2 people just recently.
Yeah.
We got, again, another...
It's just Valentine's Day love, man.
I know. Food shortages, again, started to happen with some food plants burning down and all kinds of stuff.
The chicken house, 100,000 chickens laying hens.
That was like
up
a
in
week
smoke.
ago, but, nowadays it just seems like it's no big deal. Yeah, it's just
just
another food plant.
Another day. Day.
In New York, another building. It was a huge warehouse or a grocery store that went up in flames too. I don't know how many people that was kind of like taken care of. With
no big deal.
Yeah. We're not even going to talk about that. What's going on is people are being desensitized to get used to. Don't you feel like that? All these bad news. So they can just kind of like, oh yeah, well, what's going on today? Nobody's doing anything about it. People are not speaking out.
To be honest, I didn't even think about it in that context of being desensitized to bad news, but it makes a lot of sense. If you repetitively hear something over and over again, you are desensitized to it. And here we are, honestly, thinking about when there's an egg shortage in the nation, and then a hatchery with 100,000 hens goes up in smoke, and we don't even bat an eye at it.
Yeah, it's no big deal, right? Like you said.
No big deal.
How about this? A lot of people will make comments right away because I engage a lot on Twitter. I know a lot of people that follow me know, and I've been talking about eggs and all that stuff. And unfortunately, it's all unfolding. So somebody would make a comment right away. Hey, over here where I'm at, whatever state this person is in, it's all good. Eggs are like $4. We got so many, and then all of a sudden you see like a dozen people just come up and start, laying out facts with pictures that there are shortages. You're being desensitized slowly, right? But surely. You got 1 or 2 stores that are missing certain items that are used the most on daily basis, like eggs, for instance, right? Just look up.
And if you can point the finger towards one single source and say that's the source of all your problems. They are responsible for every woe that you have. Let's go do something about it. It makes that proposition a lot easier and a lot more palatable to the average American citizen to, you know what? Yeah, let's go to war.
Yeah.
My eggs are $10 a dozen.
Might as well. When everything fails, what does Gerard Salenti say? When it all fails, they take you to war. Something like that.
War's good business. Right now, the most profitable corporations in America have to do, or Northrop Grumman, General Dynamics, Raytheon, all of those war profiteer companies. We used to be a nation that would look down on war profiteers. Like, you shouldn't be making a profit to help defend the nation. And since, World War II, that's gone to the wayside. Like, no, war's big business.
It's all normal.
It's
like
big
everything
business.
That's going on every day. Like, should I even go into UFOs too, real quick?
That whole thing was completely just idiotic. But
hey, they're looking into debris right now. They're about to tell us what was really going on. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Or give us your thoughts with your military background. What do you?
I think
real briefly here.
I think it is that whole balloon radar thing is absolutely ridiculous. To me, it's absurd. Their excuse that we didn't have the sensors on our radars turned up high enough to be able to see this kind of. Okay, so you didn't care enough about us to be able to detect something that was the size of 3 school buses flying into our airspace.
Are you talking about the balloon or UFOs?
All of it. It all feeds in together, right? So if we're not important enough for you to turn up the sensitivity on these radars to be able to see something that size coming across, then you're inept or incompetent, or you just don't care about national defense, because that doesn't matter. So
Well,
now,
what do you mean? It's all about our safety.
that's what they say.
I mean, isn't that what it is? The
Safety
point?
first. Safety first.
Safety first.
So in the interest of safety, they went ahead and turned those sensors up. So now they're seeing a lot more stuff than what they have been. So how many times in the past now have these same style things and events been taking place that we just didn't even know about? And only now we're learning about them. It just shows how incompetent they are. They can't even get a press briefing correct on the matter.
Yeah, but how can we say they're incompetent when they were so carefully spreading, let's say, towels on the beaches of Florida to make sure you're 6 feet distance? And,
well,
having restaurants, having chairs outside, and
they're extremely competent in the stuff that doesn't matter to anyone in reality. You know what I mean?
Exactly. The things that you know for sure make no sense.
Government
that's being pushed 24/7.
Yeah. At the senior levels in government, you will get rewarded and promoted and advancement, everything else, by doing the least amount possible and not making any waves and being a good yes man. And if, in fact, from my standpoint, what I saw, the more incompetent you are, the better. Yeah. Or at least the more willing you're able to, or the more willing you are to go along with incompetency, the better.
Don't you believe that, honestly, a lot of people, we know there are plenty of sheeple out there still, but a lot of people, they were kind of on the fence a little bit what's going on with everything we've seen during health event when it comes to jabs and when it comes to all the mandates that we've had, including, this was on our video that unfortunately we had technical difficulties. I had to erase it. Mm-hmm. And we went over that because I lived in Florida in 2020. Mm-hmm. You were overseas in 2020. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting, I believe, about us doing a video together is because you were boots on the ground, you were a veteran, you had over 200 people under your belt, or 170 or something you mentioned last time, mm-hmm. that you were responsible for. That's the word I was looking for, because you guys were in the battle, and I lived in the trenches, basically in the basement in a way, because I was a civilian under 18. Happening from both sides, I believe it brings a lot of value to people because this is happening now globally. All the social unrest, now wars, possible famine coming down the road. Like I said, you can't make this up. It's impossible, because every day you look, you kind of like get almost like somebody slapping you, and you're trying to catch a breath, and then there is another slap, and it's not a knockout punch yet. It's more of a like you can't stop. It is nonstop. You just kind of like, what?
I mean, you can't watch the news without getting amped up. That's the way they want you all the time. Always something breaking news, nonstop, 24/7, and it's never focusing on solving this issue or working towards it. It's maximizing the clickbait and the viewership and all that, and then on to the next one.
Yeah.
If you follow,
why wouldn't we talk about?
If you live in a constant state of anxiety like that and hypertension on agricultural plants, horticulture, where they stress the plants with music, with words, with whatever.
I did not, but that sounds.
They won't grow.
Yeah, I believe it.
They stunt their growth, and they won't produce fruit. They won't produce the pollination and all that good stuff. But the ones that are relaxed and easygoing, good for days. And the funny thing about it is if you turn that off and you don't listen to it, it doesn't exist. It really doesn't exist in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, I gotta do better with that. To tune off a lot of stuff, even though I know 99% of what they say, it's all BS anyways. But at the same time, like you said, you do get worked up because it's kind of like.
See, I tune in. I'm like, well, let's see what the BS is going to be today. I don't get worked up about it at all.
I do sometimes, but a lot of times it's kind of like I laugh at it.
Yeah,
but it's not funny if that makes sense.
They're really they're at the whim. They're at their mercy. From these agencies and social media platforms and everything. They have a room full of head doctors and physicians and psychologists and all this stuff, just trying to figure out how can they keep you engaged.
But I'm starting to get the feeling, like I was saying a little bit earlier, that a lot of people are getting a little bit more awake now. I think this whole thing with the health event really woke a lot of people. The stupidity and
just apply a little common sense.
Yeah.
Just stand back and objectively look at the situation, what's going on. Take it all in. If you ever play golf, when you're playing golf and you're trying to read the greens, if you just only look at the green that's right in front of you, you'll never read it correctly. You have to step back and look at the surrounding horizon.
Yeah, I like that analogy. That's exactly.
So that way you can see how the water flows, and how the water will flow is how the ball will flow to the hole. That's the way the greens are.
Golfer, by the way.
That
makes a lot of sense.
It's a great way to ruin a good walk. And I've done it many times.
That's a good one. I might have to title this video. Don't forget that one.
All right. But you got to do that in life, right? You're taking all this stuff in, and it sounds like chaos is going outside. But if you walk out to your mailbox and your neighbor's doing the same at the same time, you're just going to wave at each other. Hey, man, how you doing? Want to come over for a cigar later? Don't let them dictate how you're going to feel. The only one responsible for the way that you feel is you. That's what you have 100% control over. And if you cede that power to them, they're going to amp it up.
That's exactly what's happening right now. They're good. Like a lot of people say, we use the word incompetent. There is no doubt. There is so many of them out there that are incompetent. But I think that just the evil is a lot more intense now. It's coming out that they're good at what they're doing. I mean, they really are good at dividing people. Mm-hmm. This is continuing to happen with all the narrative agenda. I honestly, 24/7.
I believe, and I kind of know that they get into this bubble. They start out with great intentions. I want to provide this best service, X. I want to provide this best platform, Y. I want to do the best at this, Z, right? Well, what are your metrics to determine the best, right? What analytics do you have to quantify that you're the best in something? Viewership, clickbait, time seconds on a website. Well, how do I gain the most of that? Well, then you start critiquing your stuff to get the most of that, because that's how you quantify if you're the best. And then next thing you know, you're just this succubus of freaking debauchery that's degrading humanity in every aspect around you so that you can be the best at getting more viewers of whatever it is that you're presenting. It didn't start out that way, but that's the way that it ends. And of course, you have those guys, which I truly believe are the evil personified, George Soros and the like, who are behind a lot of the most evil things going on in our nation right now, which are the true problems. And he's smart. Look at what he did. He went around the nation and installing attorneys, prosecutors, attorney generals at the lowest level, at the city, the county, the state.
Well planned
over time. But what did he do? He didn't go after the presidency. He didn't go after Congress. He didn't go after Senate. The power of the United States of America rests in the states. The problem is the states are not asserting their power. They're not taking part in this great republic of ours, because it's not a democracy, it's a republic. They're not exercising their judicial powers in that aspect. So Soros and that group has came in and they've gotten all these attorneys, prosecutors, and people, and they're causing mayhem by releasing criminals back in the street, arresting peaceful people that are just protesting outside of an abortion clinic so that women can't kill their babies, or the rancher out in Arizona that kills the immigrant, or turns to find out he probably didn't even kill the illegal immigrant that was trespassing and pointed a gun at him. That person is not in prison. The illegal immigrant doesn't go to prison, doesn't get deported. The rancher does.
Yeah, we're already at this.
You see what
show me the man and I'll show you the crime.
Exactly.
It's already been happening.
By design.
Stalin's playbook.
Mm-hmm.
His general, what was his name?
Go take it back. Which one? Stalin's?
Yeah,
no, it would have been Hitler's, the propaganda. Goebbels was the propaganda. Was a propaganda master.
I'm trying to remember who said that quote. Show me the man. I think it was Stalin's guy.
I think it was Stalin himself.
It might have been. Yeah. Well, that's what we're seeing.
Kind of like it doesn't matter who votes. It matters who counts the votes.
Yeah, it's same guy. Yeah. So let's just go back a few steps here, right? So you were talking about just a few minutes ago, and you said, well, you don't have to listen to what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
you just go out and you'll miss a lot of all the madness that's pushed on social media, which I agree 100%. But also a lot of people that continue digging their heads in the sand and they want to stay quiet and they ignore the obvious. We are now, like we were saying, at the point, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. It's total communism. It's not officially to the point that we are watching,
well, there's beauty in moderation.
Stalin out marching on the streets, but it's pretty close. I mean, I think a lot of people can agree with that.
It definitely does seem that way, but those are the people that are getting worked up, and amped up. And for what reasons? They're being played. There's beauty in moderation. You can't be completely oblivious to what's going on around you. You have to be engaged in this experiment of our republic in order to be effective. How do you do that? I don't have a best answer for that. I can tell you what I do is I read a lot of different agencies. I watch, multiple different news agencies from around the world, but I exercise some common sense. You can watch the same exact story being told on 4 or 5 different networks, and it's 4 or 5 different viewpoints that are spinning it in a different way. And if that's your only source of news, then that's going to eventually become your silo and your viewpoint, which is extremely dangerous. So I would say have a healthy distrust of everyone that's involved in the government and media. Exercise as much common sense as you can, and seek counsel from like-minded individuals that live around you in your community.
Like-minded individual. There is website or app, whatever, probably an app that you mentioned again on that video that you erased. What was it called?
It's called the Barrage. And
we'll post the link down below.
The Great Bear Trail is what they call their thing that it is you're doing. I don't even know what you would call, I guess, a resource to help like-minded people. But you can't just join the group. You have to bring something to the table in order to be accepted into the group.
Love it.
Right? So if you're a farmer and you can provide food, okay, you agree to help fellow bears out along the way that need some support or whatever, and they agree to help you out if the case be. And a lot of them own businesses themselves, and they do a lot of trade and bartering, and they work, directly with one another to get things that they need. It's pretty amazing some of the stuff that's on there. They have welders, fabricators, plumbers, HVAC, construction workers.
You mentioned this to me. I don't know how many times. I still don't even know the name. I can't even pronounce it. But
Barrage.
With my English, that's kind of like normal.
I will send you the link directly. You
know how I am. I'm just like, you put me anywhere, put me in the middle of the desert, where I live, by the way. Put me on the beach, put me in Florida, whatever. I kind of interact with people a lot. And for me, for bartering, it's no problem. But a lot of people are not personalities like me. So
that's the beautiful thing about this. You don't have to be.
Exactly.
I first got cued into it because the advertisement that I saw initially was a social media platform for 4-year-olds and above, meaning that there's no curse words, there's no anything that's not traditional family valued moral images, right? If you go in there and you post up a semi-nude photo, it's gone.
Traditional family, man, where this video is going to be taken down immediately.
Perhaps.
If I said I'm worshiping Satan, Satan, it would have been.
You have to pay for it, right?
On Channel 5 News.
And I saw that, and I told Kel, I was like, this sounds pretty good. Why don't we give it a try? It's $15 a year. So we paid the $15 and we go on there, and it was freaking awesome, man. It's just people out living off the land, building things themselves, trying to find answers to solutions that they got, and everybody's extremely helpful on it.
Yeah, I'll post the link on this. Yeah. I don't want to forget that. By the way, we're not sponsored by any of this. As you guys probably can tell, I don't even know what the name is. Just want to put that out there. We're
only sponsored by Independence Art.
Trying to make sense out of this nonsense. That's right. And Homefront Radio. That's for sure on Spotify. That's what Bryan is. If you guys want to hear more. He's more into politics.
We got a guy coming up that's right up your alley on Thursday. He's a finance guy, all about money, and his standpoint is that the most evil thing in the world in the history of the planet is the international banking conglomerates. and Federal Reserve.
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
But to go back on this, basically overreach from those in charge, from those politics, they suck the blood out of you. Another Gerard Celente.
But when they start doing stuff like that, what I've been doing the last few weeks is just looking at them and politely saying, no, thank you. And in their face, they don't know what to do with that. For example, there was someone who was asking me to, at a place that I have to go to that was still owned by the federal government, they wanted to put a mask on. So no, thank you. Yeah, still.
When was this?
A week and a half ago.
In Arkansas?
Yeah.
Not LA?
At a federal place.
Okay.
On a federal installation. I said, no, thank you. And they just looked at me, and I just kept on carrying about my business, and they looked at me a little bit longer, and dude shrugged his shoulders and went back to doing what he was doing. But completely dismissed right off. So,
yeah, nicely. No thanks.
No, thank you.
Yeah, the more people refuse things, then everything.
You got to be rude about it.
Yeah. You got to.
I'd heard someone else discussing and saying that that's the way that they were approaching issues like that, and I was like, that's not a bad technique. It worked for me. I'm 1-0.
What's the name of the guy that's supposed to come out? First name
is Charlie Fuquay.
Okay, so we got his last name and first name is going to be out here. I want to touch up on Universal Basic Income, UBI, with him. And I want to bring it home with that here today to kind of finish off with. We talked about bartering. We talked about the app.
UBI is coming.
Yes,
it's coming.
Like-minded people. You can't bypass everything, okay? No. You cannot bypass everything, but you can detach from the matrix as much as possible by being self-sufficient. But having real things, tangibles, and having skills. Like, can you fix, plumbing? Are you a good plumber? I know I'm not, but I have some other stuff that I can bring of value. Like, for instance, whatever, food, right? We know energy guy. This guy. The guy that I like to be around military guys. Why? Because I think, unfortunately, things are going to get a lot worse. And I want to have guys around.
I hope not.
That I hope not too, but everybody can see where he's going. And if he doesn't, great. We form a good relationship anyways. But I don't want to have people around me right now. This is just cruel reality that are not ready to do anything.
Yeah.
Okay? They're just going to be a liability. You do not want those people. You got to be mean right now in a way. Cut them out of your life. Yeah. Surround yourself with the like-minded individuals and see what you can do. Because UBI is going to bring what? Digital enslavement. People think they're going to be getting this money coming in. Yeah, you might get it, but you got to show proof of jabs. You're going to have to transact with their digital dollar in order to have it. I think a lot of people will try to bypass this to the best of their abilities, but it is coming. It's unavoidable, and we can't avoid all the vendors. Like we mentioned on the previous video again, where the guy was tweeting about it, he was asking really good questions. And I did not hear much from people. They did not have too many answers on this. Basically, if they say you got to pay for this with digital currency, you have to. Maybe I have to fly somewhere. Guess what? I'll swim, I'll drive, I'll figure it out.
China's already figured it out. Their social credit system. They can turn it off like that. Boom. Facial recognition sees you down the street, and it flags local officials as you're an issue, and they come to you.
Yeah.
You're done. You're not. You won't even be able to go to work.
There's so much we can do, right? But we got to be mentally healthy here, like you said, avoiding to get caught up with social media too much. I got to do better at that, by the way. Like I said, I'm going to repeat that.
Just love your family. Take the time with them. Spend the time with them. Detach a little bit. Have a
and turn the phone off.
Healthy distrust, and that's something that I got to get better at too. Admittedly, but what's real? That or your kids? This morning, today's Valentine's Day, and I have 3 daughters, and I went and did something pretty big for the first time for Valentine's Day with them. Right? I got them each a rose and a little basket, and balloons, and all that stuff just out of the blue. And I had it all setting out for them when they came down this morning. And the pure look on their face of just appreciation and love and that mutual back and forth between us was awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Beautiful.
That's what matters.
Beautiful. I would love to finish this video on that note.
Good.
It's positive little things like that are just going to keep people sane in this insane world. But at the same time, like you said, don't just fall asleep here and not prepare, because we are definitely approaching some crazy times. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And that would be it for today. We will be back with Charlie
Fuquay. Well, he's going to be
Fuquay.
with on Homefront Radio on Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll try to bring him on the new American Realist too.
Yeah, let's see if we can get him.
A couple other guests are coming up too. So hopefully we'll get a little bigger so people can get out the message. And share these videos.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
What you think?
You're reading my mind.
Yeah.
Like, share, and subscribe.
That's right. We are out.